Good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
We appreciate you making time. At 80/20 report shows that 40% of credit defaulters are under the age of 35. What are some of the key factors driving South Africans into debt so early in life?
Young people today face numerous financial challenges that can impact their financial stability. They often struggle with debt, including student loans, credit card, and other forms of borrowing due to lack of knowledge about finance or investing or even managing their debt, making it difficult for them to make informed decisions when it comes to managing their debt or accounts.
What is it about unsecured loans that makes it attractive to young people? Because they are considered high risk. Why are they so common amongst this age group?
To be honest, it's because it's easy accessible. You know, getting a clothing account, getting a personal loan is one of the easiest accounts or the first accounts that one can actually qualify for before you can actually qualify for the secured ones. And you know, youngsters nowadays, they're all about clothing. They're all about fancy things. So those unsecured debt is what they take out in order to purchase those items that they would want.
And you mentioned financial education is something that is lacking. So how do we make sure that this becomes something that is the norm, that young people do get financial education where necessary?
It is important for youngsters to be educated, hence why those financial advisors, they are us who are debt counselors. You know, when young people do take out certain accounts, that consultant should be at least responsible to educate that person more about their account they want to take out, inform them about the interest rate and other charges that are associated with that debt. With educating the youngsters, it will curb a lot of them from finding themselves in this financial debt crisis.
At what stage in life would you say this financial literacy needs to begin in order to prove effective?
You know, it's very important. They should already implement it in high school or even primary. You know, start teaching children from a young age. There's no need for you to use those fancy word or vocabularies. Start like using the word saving. You know, save the little money, your pocket money that your mother gives to you. That's how you can actually educate and instill that into young children. And then they can also grow up with that habit into their older days or older age group.
And what would your advice be to parents then who are thinking, how do I teach my children, if we're saying we're starting as early as even primary school, to learn about money and financial know-how?
As parents, you know that most of them would give their children pocket money either every day or once a week. So you can tell your child, instead of me giving you this 10 Rand, don't use that whole amount. Save up. Remember, in December, you want to buy yourself toys, or maybe you'd like to buy yourself takeaways. So you can instill that into your children. Teach them to save. Don't use all of the money. Use it when you also only need to, because sometimes kids would still carry money to school, but they do have enough luxuries. They do have enough lunch, which won't be necessary for them to actually use that lunch money that the parents actually gave to them. So you can also inform their children that, you know, I'd rather save this money because you won't need to buy anything with it.
So let's talk about the type of support that is currently available on the market when it comes to dealing with default and debt repayments or dealing with debt. You mentioned financial advisors and the like.
Yes, there are financial advisors. You know, you can also look for one, or some do even call you and ask if they can be your financial advisor, guide you into making financial decisions. Most people do tend to believe that, no, I know how to manage my debt. I know how to manage my. But you won't know that financial advisors are experts in this. They can actually educate you with something that you must have not been aware of. So it is very important, if you find yourself that I do have money, but I do not know what to do with my money, start by appointing a financial advisor, someone who's going to guide you each and every step of the way, encourage you to invest, encourage you to save, encourage you to think of the future, because at this moment, what most people do, we only think about the situation now and not long term. You know, with all this money that you could have wasted on other expenses, you could have saved for a bigger goal. So it's very important for people to have short-term, long-term goals, and then you know that, okay, I can save for my short-term, I can save for my long-term.
Could this be part of therapy? Because also being in debt can affect somebody emotionally and psychologically in terms of their daily functioning.
Yes, a lot of people get affected mentally because of debt. You know, so many people would find themselves not going to work. So many people find themselves depressed. You know, payday for some people is not a happy day. It's a day full of emotions. It's a day you wish you can just run away. You know, so if you do find yourself in this situation, as a debt counselors, we are there. We are able to assist you and put you in a debt rehabilitation program to assist you in how you can manage and pay your debt. You know, there's always help out there. People just need to seek that assistance. They need to look for that help.
And of course, it's better to have a more proactive approach than to react once the debt has accumulated.
Yes, and avoid yourself from getting into debt cycles, you know, because you would get some financial institutions approaching you. Oh, you do qualify for credit limits increase, you do qualify for a loan, you do qualify for this account, knowing very well that you've already have a lot on your plate. If they do approach you saying you do qualify, it doesn't mean that you must take it out. You know, that's one thing that so many people confuse themselves of. Oh, I can qualify limit. But you're not thinking that you're already swamped financially and you're already in a deep debt crisis and you still want to take on more debt.
Well, Samantha, thanks again for making time for us on this Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
That is Samantha Moyana, who is debt counsellor at the National Debt Advisors, talking to us on the line. So much pressure also, I think, when you see people on social media as a young person and you want to live up to this certain life that you can't necessarily afford. And now you end up getting into debt, taking loans.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's actually the way of the world. And consumerism, you switch on the television, all you see is commercials encouraging you to buy stuff. You get on the internet, every second page or every page that you turn to, someone is selling you something. And they have to be more innovative in the way that they lure you in. So being younger and inexperienced, you get caught out very quickly. So I think it's the lenders as well, partly, that are to blame.
Yeah, well, let's get our news headlines. Here is Onele Nzinzi, 7:31 Central African time it is.